Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. Our next episode with Eve, trying to get her accustomed to shavs again so that we can ultimately hook her up to the Forecart for Forecart farming. Now last time, after we turned the camera off, Sarah was able to get those simulated shavs, which are just 10-foot pieces of gray conduit, into the Cossack straps of our vaulting surcingle. Those are the kind of the fluffy straps on the side.
Just picked up the pipes and started with her legs and was rubbing them on her really nicely and just talking to her, and she's fine with them.
Okay.
It's just like a long dressage whip kind of.
Okay, now notice that I have no cane. This is the first time today that I've walked all the way over here to what we call the HVD West pasture. Knock on wood, I seem to be doing quite well on recuperating from my left hip replacement. But nevertheless, I know that for at least 2 more months I have to be very careful not to get yanked around or knocked over. So I am going to go to the camera, and Scott and Sarah are going to show you what it's going to take to try to get those gray shaft simulators into the Cossack straps. Will Eve allow it? Because last time, at the end of our last episode, she just, whenever you tried to lift anything behind her, she was suspect. She had no confidence. But confidence will come with repetition and with time. We brought our blue flag in case you need something visual in front of her. Again, it's a cold Santa Cruz day in the 70s. Everywhere in Texas today, I looked on Weather Underground, it's triple digits.
Oh, easy. That's just Scott back there. Oh. Why don't you go where you were before over here? Because she doesn't seem to like having
I would have that
her.
blue flag nearby, even maybe in your back of your pants or something, so that you can have a visual block if you need it timely. This is how I trained Eve to drive cart many, many years ago. I used shaft simulators. There you go.
Good
and see, we're not approaching her from the back, which is a good idea at this point. Those are the shafts that we eventually want her to accept. Those are the wooden shafts of our homemade Forecart for farming. She just wouldn't allow us to approach her from behind with those shafts.
It's okay. We just did this a minute ago. I know you're fine with it.
Scott, why don't you walk up to her on her right side, pick up the gray conduit. Yeah, and just talk to her.
Good girl.
Try to put it in, the one on the right side, try to put it in to the Cossack straps.
Good girl. It's okay.
Watch Eve's body language. She's saying, okay, I trust you two guys, but I'm not sure about these things on the side of my body.
Touch her butt before you put it in.
Boy, I wish we had a third person to actually pick up those simulated conduit shafts and walk around with them, but that's good what you're doing.
Okay,
good, and that's good what you're doing, Sarah. Calm her down. Now, will she allow Scott to very quietly, carefully, but not sneakily, walk behind her? Good, and Sarah has the blue flag in case she needs it.
Good girl.
And Sarah, if she does start bolting, spooking, try to get those conduits out of the Cossack straps for safety.
Okay.
Okay, it's all right, Evie. It's all right. It's all right, Evie. It's all right. Now she's going to watch you.
It's okay.
It's all right.
We're just going to stand.
That's good. Now just stand there.
Good girl.
She's allowing you, a potential predator, to lift those up, and look at her eyeballs.
Good girl.
Yeah. She's saying, wait a minute. Oh, now she's investigating, which is very, very good. For
Good
obstacles
girl.
work, if I can get my horses to
okay.
investigate.
Oh.
Okay, good, good. Scott, try to walk forward.
okay.
Okay, let him
Put it
come
down.
out. That was a little bit too much for her.
Good girl.
But if we can get to the point where she'll just stand there again.
Good girl.
Yeah,
Good
she's making noises. She's just not sure. If we can get to the point where she'll just stand there again with that conduit in the Cossack straps, and you can just pick it up and like touch her on the hips, I'd say we've reached a good moment of resolution.
Good girl.
Good. So there's a fine line between what is sneaking and what is gently happening. We don't want to sneak around. Our horses get real worried when anything sneaks around them because those are potential predators. Good. So let's see if you can each lift your gray conduit.
Let's
Put it
back
in
up a
the
little bit.
Cossack straps. It's all right. It's all right, Eve.
Good girl.
Yeah, be real touchy, gentle. She's watching. She is definitely
Good
watching.
girl.
Scott, you want to pick yours up? It's all right. And we want,
Good.
it's all right. Good. Good. We want Sarah with the Monty Roberts to stay at the head.
Good girl.
Good girl, Evie. We want Scott to not sneakily, but very quietly walk to the back. Oh, look at
okay.
that. Look at that concern, that upheadedness, that bulgy-eyed. She's concerned. Okay, talk to her, Scott. Walk to her, the back.
You're okay.
Good, yeah, and
Good
keep touching
girl.
her. It's all right. Her back leg is cocked. That's a good sign. Pick it up. It's all right, Evie.
Good girl.
It's all right. And then just try.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, now what we're doing, unfortunately, is reinforcing her forward motion when we don't want it by allowing those to drop. Yeah. So this time, let's try to catch her before she decides to go forward.
Oh.
But, you know, it's a fine line between what is safe and what is the wrong answer. And with repetition.
Oh.
Good. Okay, let's do it a little bit quicker now. Just get those conduits in there as if it's no big deal. She got a little bit up-headed.
Good girl.
Walk a little bit more on purpose to the back, Scott. It's all
Good
right.
girl.
It's all right, Eve. And if you can pick them up and she doesn't move, that's our moment of resolution.
Oh.
Yeah, don't let them fall out. Good, good, good.
Oh.
Try to follow her
Oh.
within parameters of safety.
Good girl.
Good. Good. She's up-headed, but she's standing still. Try to go with her. See, she's thinking these things are going with her, maybe attacking her. This is a
Good
perfect time to
girl.
stop. This is our moment of resolution.
Good girl.
Today, we are going to put the britchin back on Eve. The britchin that we used when she first had that incident about a month ago. It's all right. And she almost knocked over the camera. She definitely knocked over me, and since then has been afraid of the britchin from our harness that we use for pairs driving.
Girl.
So far, I'm almost afraid to say it, so far, she's saying, okay on the britchin, okay. It's all right. Well, why are we doing this? Because we're going to go over to the corner where we were last session with Eve, and she just had a vaulting surcingle on. We're going to try to put the electrical conduit, which are our shaft simulators, in some holders of our full harness, with the objective of whenever we're confident and she's confident, we feel we can bring our homemade Forecart shafts and at first just put them on the sides of her body and have her not be afraid, and then ultimately connect them to her harness.
Good girl.
Good girl. Now, the question is, when we start moving, will she be
No.
spooked? Eve was our best harness horse, both pairs and single driving until that incident. Some kids across the street were playing drums. I'm not sure if that's what got her spooked, but ever since that one incident, she's been spooky. And we can't have a spooky harness horse. And we're hoping that Mother Eve will teach Sadie not to be spooky, even if it takes years.
Good girl.
We want them to drive in harness in pairs. Now I've got my blue flag here in case we need some kind of a visual block. You know, for the gray conduit, we don't need the collar on.
Okay.
So unless you're worried about the surcingle and the britchin moving, how do you feel about that, Katie?
I've been moving her around after every piece I'm putting on her.
Okay.
So we'll
So
see.
if she spooks, let's go back.
Easy.
Yeah, she's spooking. This is not the way Eve used to be.
Easy.
She's feeling that britchin, and she's saying, wait a minute, something
Easy, cat.
is scary here.
Easy. Easy.
That's why we're videoing this portion of our harnessing episode. Every time, look, let's watch her body. Every time she feels that britchin, it's at the right place on her hips.
Ooh, good.
Good, Evie.
Good girl.
Do you want us to bring the gray conduit to you rather than you to the corner?
No, that's avoiding the problem.
That's true. We're trying to deal with the problems as they occur and make progress, tiny baby steps within parameters of safety.
Good girl.
Good, good, Evie.
I do want to walk her for 5
Oh,
10 minutes.
absolutely. Walk her
before-
as much as you want. We're going to set the camera back up now in the northwest corner or quadrant of this pasture, which we call the HVD West pasture. Bring her there as we
Good
did in our
girl.
last session with her vaulting surcingle on. And I'll do the camera work while Scott brings the electrical conduit,
Good
lightweight
girl.
gray conduit, which is our shaft simulators, and tries to connect them, Scott, easily through those, through the surcingle. It has some loops, just like the vaulting surcingle. You understand? Okay, good. Better, better. Okay, let's see now. Let's let Katie walk around. If there are any incidents, we'll let you know. Okay, here we are in the northwest corner of the west pasture where we were last time. And we took those gray pieces of conduit, 10-foot lengths, only ½ inch, and we put them through the Cossack straps of the vaulting surcingle. That was a little tricky because Eve was a little bit worried about having those things behind her on the side of her. And we had to find a medium point, you know, not too slow, not too fast. We didn't want to be sneaky, yet we didn't want to surprise her. We're trying to do the same thing today, even if you can't get it through the holders of the surcingle. If we can get it up on the sides of her body, I'd be happy. Now I want to say thank you to Frank. Our short 10-minute session last time, I got a comment from Frank somewhere. He was watching that show, that portion of the show, and he said, great job, as he saw us get, I think the reason he said that is because he saw us get Eve to accept the gray conduits on the side of her body, and he said to me, he said, I hope you haven't experienced too much pain with your hip replacement. And I replied to Frank online, and I said, fortunately, I've had minimal pain from the hip replacement. So far, after a whole month, no side effects, no embolisms, nothing like that, although I did have to take blood thinner
Back up.
by injection for over 3 weeks. And you can see that I'm walking around without a cane, even in this pasture which has uneven ground. I am careful though. For the next 2 months, I have to be very, very careful. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this video while Scott does with Eve what he did last time in our last session with the vaulting surcingle. And I have this flag in case we need to do something about getting her focus. We don't want her to bolt forward.
Nope.
Do you want the flag in your hand?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, Scott's going to come get it. These flags are very valuable. They are expensive, but they're lightweight, and they really are focus-getting tools. Okay, remember, Scott, not too sneaky, because horses are afraid of sneaky. It's all right, Evie.
Good girl.
By the way, when we walked over here, she became fine on the britchin.
Back.
She wasn't tucking her butt like she was at first. Good. One is good. One is not as good as two, but better than none. Good. Okay. Forward motion. You see how the flag is definitely a useful tool here. Katie's going to come back into the conduit corridor. Good girl, Eve. Why don't you stand in the middle, pick it up, show it to her. She sees you. Most definitely she sees you. Her back leg is cocked. It's all right. It's all right, Eve.
Good girl.
Good girl. Yeah, this thing isn't sneaking up on her from the back. She's a little bit concerned about it being on the side. Good, Eve. Very nice, Eve. This is Firecrest Easter Eve, Mother to Sadie. Okay, put that one down, Scott, and walk around the other side. Again, her back leg is still cocked. Walk into the middle, touch her, talk to her. Say, okay, we're just doing some training here, Eve. Nothing sneaky, nothing predatorial. Good girl, Eve. She likes the side approach much better than the back approach. But of course, we got to get her comfortable and confident with the back approach, because in fact, our objective is to bring the shafts up to her from the back of our homemade forecart, so that I can get in there and do some farming with Eve, probably next year. Now, Eve has been trained to cart. She's been trained to pull. She's done all of those things. She was our best harness horse until that one incident about a month ago. Now, if you can pick it up from the side where you are and somehow kind of walk, keep it up, but walk, keep the conduit where it is, and you just kind of scooch down with your arms. Scooch down to the back. In other words, you're going to get to the back where we eventually have to be, by starting in the middle. Good, Eve. Good. Good. Okay, now we sure need another person. How are we going to do this? I'll put it back down again, do the same thing from the other side. One tiny baby step at a time. She's still showing me body language of not too much concern, but look how high-headed she got because there's some dogs barking. Okay, she's just blinking her eyes. She's saying, oh, okay, I'm okay on those things now on the side of my body. Okay, now let's see if you can put the south end down on the ground, keeping the north end up at your waist. No, the south end down near Katie. Okay, now walk over behind her. See, that's the scary part. She's saying, what's going on behind me? See if you can lift the north end of the west conduit. That's it. At some point, she might say, that's too much for me. She might start walking forward. Good, Eve. Now, can you get enough leverage on those great, yes, to bring them up? I wouldn't even put them in the holders right now. Good, Eve. That's very good. Can you come a little closer? Yes. Touch her. Say, this is not going to hurt you. Well, maybe, Katie, can you scooch those in to the holders without getting Eve concerned? There, Scott has his. Very nice. She's not moving forward. She's showing me relaxation with her back leg, with her ears. She's not stiff and up-headed. She's just aware. Let's see. Yeah, and she's blinking her eyes. If a horse is really concerned, they don't even blink their eyes. I call it being bulgy-eyed. And you know what? Based on our experience last time, when the vaulting surcingle was on, I don't feel that we should take the next step of going forward, because that's when she walked out of the conduit. But I'll bow to other opinions. What do you think, Katie?
Yeah, I would say to walk. She's calm. I don't know why we wouldn't.
Because last session, once we started walking, we had to pull them right out because she got spooked by walking with them.
Yes, but then you
deal with
kept
it.
them in. And you
All
dealt
right,
with
we're going to try it. A few steps forward. You've got your flag. You've got your Monty Roberts on.
Easy. Easy.
As I suspected. Okay. All right. Now we need to go back and stop when she's not walking forward. We need to show with repetition that she's going to get so that it's okay to walk forward with those things. But now will she let us bring them up just like we just did? So bring up the north ends, and Katie can help you put it in the holders that if you can't get it in.
Good girl.
It's all right, Eve.
Good girl.
It's all right. Good girl. There. She said, okay, I'm okay on standing here, but I'm not okay on moving forward with those things. So, okay, we'll say, unless I have argument here, you guys want to try it again. You saw what happened.
Yeah,
You do.
because she thinks she can get away from him.
Yeah, she does, but maybe next time she won't. As long as we know they can be pulled out and she won't be dragging them on the ground.
They'll easily fall out on their own.
Okay, even though they're kind of ballooned out at the end. Okay.
Good girl.
Good girl, Eve. Much better. I would love to stop whenever you're comfortable stopping. Oh, that is so beautiful.
I'm just going to finish the circle.
We're going to just try to finish the circle, and it's, uh-oh. Unfortunately. Let's put it back in right there.
It's because he didn't keep it in, so it fell out on its own.
Yeah. Let's try to put them back in. Let's watch her body language. Is she okay on it? Now, Scott being behind has to walk really fast when she makes a small circle. Let's see if we can get back to starting point without showing spookiness. Good, Eve. Very nice. Okay, this is starting point.
Oh, good girl.
Now very quietly bring them out. It's all right, Eve. And that's our moment of resolution. We have shown some improvement, and we'll keep showing you with repetition how we, by baby steps, get Eve to accept not only these simulated shafts, but the shafts on our homemade farming forecart, which are wooden and connected to an old hay cart. So it's not going to be as easy to pull it out or follow her if she spooks. So we have to do it in very small steps with confidence from her and with confidence from us that it's not being done with any danger. That's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. Our next training objective with Eve is to have her back straight into the simulated shafts, which are in the same position as would be the farming forecart shafts. Today, we're going to try to get Eve to back into the simulated electrical conduit forecart shafts when they're at rib height. So can you lift them up? A few days ago, Sarah, on Eve in saddle at my arena, backed Eve up along a fence where I had a large diameter piece of PVC on the other side of her, and we started making her understand that when she backs, she has to back straight, and when she stops after the back, she's not to move her hips out away from the fence. So just to finish up this episode about forecart horse pulling, we're going to see if we can get her to back into these simulated shafts when they're at this height. Sarah's going to see if she can get Eve to back straight and not move her hips over. And I've got some arm extensions here and my flag to see if we need this tool to help Eve understand what we're requesting and what is the right answer. Now, Sarah's going to look over her ears. She's going to sit on her pockets. She's going to use the snaffle bit, the double reins only if Eve starts putting her head up, and see if we can back her into the simulated shafts enough so that if we wanted to, we could put them in these Cossack straps, which are shaft holders. Let's try it. Didn't make it the first time, but we didn't at the arena either. Eve didn't understand that backing, as we were requesting it, meant backing straight and not moving her hips out. Okay, stop.
Who?
You see why I wanted the double reins on. She's getting stressed because she doesn't know what is the right answer. And if we don't make it today, we'll just keep practicing, but we're showing you what our next step is, baby step, in teaching Eve to be ready for our farming forecart. Just a couple steps, not even 3 or 4, just 2. I just made a little bit of a negative pressure sound with my blue flag.
That's too
You know what is another thing we could do just for today? Stand her here and have Scott move up with the shafts, which is really realistic. You can move the forecart to the horse rather than move the horse to the forecart. Okay, tell her you're back there now, but we got to get her to stay straight.
Who?
Good girl, Eve. Easy now. Easy, easy. Move forward, Scott, very quietly. Tell her you're there. No secrets. It's all right, Eve. Her body language just said, I know something's back there. Whoa,
Easy.
whoa. Good girl, Eve.
Good girl.
She's looking at me. She's saying, yes, I like that kind of praise. That means I'm doing the right thing. Good girl, Eve. Go a little bit more forward. Don't even touch her with them. Really, the shafts don't touch the horse under normal circumstances. Try to come up with the front of the simulated shafts, yes, to be at Cossack strap position. Good. They're in the Cossack straps. That's our moment of resolution. See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.